I'm Joey Backrack, and I'm an alcoholic.
And I'm Siobhan Garcia, and I'm a normie.
And this is Totally Sober. Getting weeded on.
All right, quiet on set.
Yeah. This week we have a very special guest, and I might be a little bit biased because he is my husband and my better half. He is also the co-founder of Rainbow Hill Sober Living and Rainbow Hill Recovery. I don't know where I would be without my husband, Andrew.
Usually he is the director to all of our episodes of Totally Sober, but today he is in front of the camera.
So thank you. And we're also celebrating something huge today. But first, I'm going to let my husband introduce himself.
Yeah, I'm Andrew Fox. Like you said, I'm the co-founder of Rainbow Hill Sober Living and Recovery. Married to my beautiful husband. And what else? Everything.
Yes.
Everything you mentioned.
So a lot of a lot of you may not know, but he is actually the brains behind all of this crazy madness. So we wouldn't be where we are today without him. So I'm extremely appreciative.
Stop.
It's true.
No.
So today we're celebrating your sober birthday. So would you want to share about your journey? Where you were, how you got to where you are today, and what helped birth Rainbow Hill everything.
Oh, wow.
I know it's all hot. Sorry.
Where I was drinking a lot. I think I had a slow journey as far as, drinking and then becoming a functioning alcoholic. And then just partying turned into drinking, turned into functioning at a job that I didn't like for for a long time. Just the day-to-day, it creeps up, and then when things hit the fan, I drank a lot and didn't have the strength or the wisdom to know how to handle problems without dealing with it. The self-discipline, and then I got sober. But yeah, so I mean, it got bad. I mean, I don't need to spill it all out, but it got bad to where I just didn't even want to.
Your basement.
I hit my personal bottom.
His personal well.
I hit my personal bottom, and it was just down to, being it runs in my family. It did. I am the last of the alcoholics. The men in my family. I guess honestly, I wanted to quit for a long time, but I think I had just kind of ran out of options. Resources. I mean, although I've never been fired, I was kind of at a place because I've always been self-employed, but I was definitely seeing the problems of people kind of giving me that sad look or that side-eyed look or like a, poor boy. So, I was aware.
Okay.
And then I also became the worst one of all the alcoholics in my family.
So what I'm hearing is that our children are either going to be angels or we're going to have our hands full.
Well, either way, we're going to...
Or both.
It's possible, but at least we have the tools to handle it and give to them.
And maybe see it happening before it gets to...
Yeah, because my dad never worked on it or was preaching about it. He just said, don't do what I do.
So your father...
What can I do with that?
Yeah. Your father struggled with addiction too?
Yeah.
Okay. So would you say that's addiction is sometimes Hereditary, like genetic?
It is also because for those of you who do not know, I was also adopted at birth and met my biological mother about 5 years ago, and she's also someone who is an alcoholic. So it is definitely hereditary, and I also believe that it has to do with environment and a combination of a lot of things that a lot of us do not fully understand yet. But yeah, it is hereditary.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of silly when I first, like, how can that be? But it is a way of thinking that is in your DNA that is kind of passed down. So it's kind of hard to explain, right? My dad was a people pleaser and kind of kept everything inside. And he worked really hard. So it was his tool to just kind of, rather than saying, hey, I may have to quit work, go back to school like I wanted to and become, get into a career that I always wanted to be in, he just said, I can't do that. I have a family, so I'm just gonna, his job sucked. It was a hard job. And I'm not excusing that, but it's just, at some point you have to stop and put yourself first. Easy to say now, and I don't really, he had a family, and I never suffered from his alcoholism in that way. He provided, he was never missed work. And he actually, he was totally a function. He was a beer drinker until the end. After my parents got divorced, then he just went off, but he didn't have any responsibilities either. So, he was a good guy. But
and as far as Rainbow Hill, how did you come up with the idea with your now husband?
Loved what we did. We don't really do
in a past
anymore.
life.
And so we already knew you and I worked well together. And it was, I think, a combination again of just everything coming together with the pandemic and you and I hearing a lot of struggle and pain and a lot of people just saying, I don't have to work, the world sucks, let me just drink, right? Mm-hmm. And you and I also wanted to share what you and I have. You and I are both sober and we both have a great life. And we wanted to kind of help people do better and help people see that
there is the other side.
There is the other side, and you and I were super happy and doing great.
I mean, it's not to say we haven't gone through our struggles like every other person, but I think that we wanted to share our experience.
We wanted to start giving back. We wanted to start giving back, right?
That's what we did.
Yeah, and we came up with this idea of not only and also kind of have a life mission, right? And have something to carry on and to have a purpose and meaning. Where real estate, we love it, and we were flipping houses and the buyer loved it, and it kind of was something like, we're leaving this behind. It's our work, right? And now we just wanted to go much bigger and just really help people not waste their one life.
Yeah.
And give back and share what we have. Share what we have, right?
And even though I'm sure it's much more rewarding of what you guys, the switch you did from real estate to helping people recover, was it hard to pull away from that career, leave it behind?
I don't think so. Honestly,
No.
It was kind of like a switch that just kind of flickered on, and we're like,
Natural transition.
It was a natural but abrupt transition. The housing market was very unpredictable at the time. It was the worst possible time to flip any property because you didn't know if people were going to buy it or not. And then Andrew and I put everything on red, and we were like, okay, we hope this sticks. And it did, thankfully. And we've been able to help quite a few people through our home. And now we get to do that here at Rainbow Hill Recovery. No regrets. That's not to say in the future we won't be able to bring our real estate background. We did it with the house and we made it what it is today. We designed the place here, but maybe we can start, renovating places for sober livings in the future. I think that would be pretty cool.
Property brothers.
Yeah.
Or property husbands.
Oh.
Yeah, we always, you and I are competitive and we love a challenge. We love a good challenge. And that's also what we bring to this. It came to me, but it worked its way.
It was accumulation of everything that you've done to earn it.
And you are my happiness.
Oh, thank you.
Did
you ever think we were going to be doing something like this?
No, yeah, I was born and I knew like at 7 I wanted to run a recovery center. No!
I said something like this.
I dream of it.
Yeah,
no,
it's not like
but,
we wake up when we're 13 and say, I want to do this.
But as far as sky's the limit, this is the perfect thing for us. As far as growing, expanding, and spreading positive, healthy, yes, that's what you and I both want to change the world.
Doing our part.
Yeah, and it's very rewarding. What a gift, right?
Yeah, we had a resident of ours visit us at the office about a week ago, and he is doing so well, just celebrated 18 months of sobriety. We'll probably have him on the show, but it's nice to see somebody come so far in a short period of time and see what they've accomplished in life. And that's what our goal is, to see that everyone does that who comes into our home or our program.
And I could tell he was really proud and excited to tell you about his updates and journey and everything. From what I heard, like, he was really like, and this is what I'm doing now, and like, you know, blah, blah, blah. That must be really rewarding too.
Yeah. And then since opening, what would you say one of our more difficult things have happened?
The difficult parts are, well, I mean, there's always challenges, right? When somebody relapses or disappears, you know, that's always tough for us. Getting those calls at 2 a.m., you know, so-and-so didn't come home, those are tough. What is tough is, what is difficult is not being able to explain to our residents or our clients that all you have to do is be patient. I mean, that's the hardest part, because it's just, I wish I could just plug what I have into you so that you just know. But unfortunately and fortunately, you have to go through it so you learn it. And so not having enough time to see that light turn on is frustrating.
Have you ever had a resident in the house that just ghosted, with like leaving their stuff there and just, like, didn't come back?
Well, they did end up coming back to pick up their stuff.
And mail.
And mail. Mail is a huge one. We do return to sender after a month. But we have had residents in the past just completely go, poof, we're done. We don't want to be in sober living anymore. Not anything because of us or anyone in the house, but everyone's journey is their own. And we make it very clear to everyone who moves into the house that no person, place, thing, emotion, feeling should be the reason to take you out, and that it is their responsibility. And we do what we can when they do resurface and give us a call, and we help them get to where they need to be. They're like our sober children, so it's hard sometimes. And then on the topic of relapsing, I have been pretty vocal about me relapsing after I had a year and some change. But honey,
yes,
have you ever relapsed before? Never.
Never.
Cold turkey.
Yeah.
One and done kind of guy.
One and done. But looking back, I did try and quit drinking a couple times for maybe a month or two. But that to me, I never counted as sober. I was just not drinking.
Yeah, taking a break.
So it's completely different. Saying I'm sober, I hadn't made up that decision, like, this is me now forever.
Mm-hmm.
Done. So yes, I've been sober for a few months at a time before this, but when I was done, I was done. I know everybody is different, and there is no manual, right, for sobriety. Like, I can't hand anyone a book. It's like, this is how I did it. Read this book, word for word, you're gonna be fine. It's just everybody has to make their own decision when, how, and what tools you need that work for you. It's like a diet in a way.
Mhm.
You know, my diet won't work,
But a life-changing diet.
obviously, but my diet may not work for anybody else. But it's all kind of related, right? We all have the same, but I know my body can't, you know, have certain things where other people can. And so that's the same with sobriety. You have to get a foundation and listen to people right away. Get into meetings, get into AA, whatever you decide, and get those tools right away. Act as if, dress better than you feel. That was one every day.
You always look good though.
Fake it till you make it, right? But those are all very, very temporary. You can't live your life like that, right? And some people, I felt, kind of just have stuck with that toolbox, and I wanted more. So I don't want to fake it till I make it forever. So at some point you have to stand up and start saying, I want to be the leader now. And I want to start having in my life to be real. You know, acting as if, well, I don't have to act as if anymore because I am doing, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, self-discipline was my weakness, so I really focused on that. Emotionally lazy, mentally lazy, that was a thing. And now, I guess it could be a curse sometimes, but I have to finish everything I start.
It's not a bad thing. I mean,
It can be.
If you weren't like that, I don't know if this place would ever have been finished on time.
Right. So,
or the house. So
and it's also,
it comes in handy.
It's also why we work 7 days a week sometimes, well, all the time, and we get things done quickly.
Yeah. You rip the band-aid
You know,
off.
I can't clean a house halfway. It drives me nuts.
So we have our strengths and our weaknesses in our relationship, and I'm not one that likes to clean, and I hate cooking, but I think I make up in other areas.
Obviously.
So.
I mean, you will stay on top of everything else that's very, very important, like emails and responding. And
I like that kind of stuff.
you know, those things that so my problem is if I don't start it, then I don't have to finish it, right? So it's like I will put things off until I'm ready, which is not always a good thing to do. And that's where you and I,
we make a good team.
yeah.
Finish what you started.
Yeah.
And also, I think it's important to add on from earlier what you said was everybody has their own individual way of what they need to do to succeed in recovery. And I think that's what we do here is working with all the counselors that we provide for you is they work with their individual needs. And I think that's what we're all about for IOP here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We meet you where you're at.
Yeah.
Okay. And can you talk to us a little bit about your reflection?
Yeah. This year has been a gift because I've also had a lot of reasons to reflect. We planned a wedding and got married. I have been journaling a lot. And we had a lot of conversations prior to our wedding to kind of go over you and I from the beginning and why we love each other so much and why you mean so much to me. And so in a way, it's been a great year for me to, you know, we opened a treatment center, we got married,
You converted.
yeah, I converted.
He's a Jew now.
So a lot of work with rabbis, and but it's been the greatest gift because I don't like to write. I don't like to journal, and it forced me to write down things. I never planned on getting married in my life. It's that age for me. When you kind of think about that, it was not even legal. Wasn't in my okay, we could kind of fake it, I guess. If children weren't in my picture. Meeting Joey, who's beyond what I ever dreamed of. I do not even deny that I have everything in my life that I've ever wanted and more.
You're very blessed.
I am, and it's kind of weird, but for the first time this year, I was talking to you about this, that I feel grateful for being an alcoholic. In the way that I don't feel like I would have this life today
Right.
had I not.
Well, it goes to like
Been through
everything
it.
happens for a reason. If you
Right.
were an alcoholic and you didn't choose to get sober, you
Yeah.
wouldn't have had.
Yeah.
You may have not had everything you have right now in life that you appreciate.
There's no way I would have
And
any
this
of this.
wouldn't
I wouldn't have
exist.
any of this. I wouldn't have you. I wouldn't have anything. I would, and I would have just. And this is maybe part of the reason why. You know how little seeds get planted and everything. When you look back, you're like, wow, that's kind of weird. How things all over the place kind of brought you to where you are, right? But
But if
I
you
never
weren't
wanted.
straight-
Right. And then, so, I mean, God, it goes way back to that where it's like, you know, realizing that I was gay. And I was like, okay, now that's going to be work.
What age was that when you realized?
Probably 13, 14.
You and me both.
I think it's pretty common, you know.
Except I had dolls growing up when I was
You know, and then it's weird because that's when you start to feel like, okay, now I'm going to have to divert, start thinking about, you know, and I mean, you go years where people are like, so, are you going to get married? You know, all that kind of stuff.
That used to scare the shit out of me.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
obviously I'm trans, in case no one knew. Even when I was 3 years old, I knew that I was supposed to be a girl, but I was like, had no idea. I thought that was like, I was crazy. I thought that was like, they'd lock me up or something if I ever spoke about that, you know,
Yeah.
especially being so young. But I knew that something wasn't right. But I just remember at like 10 years old, I just remember thinking like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to like marry a woman someday and have kids, and
yeah.
like that used to just scare me. But like, I had no recollection of, oh, you could change all that, you know, because I grew up in a small town
Yeah,
and I was a kid, had no idea what trans was.
Mhm.
So yeah, I can relate that used to scare me.
You're very-
thinking
yeah, you
of having
feel-
to go through life faking it and just
you feel very alone.
yeah.
And now
Yeah.
you're living your authentic self.
Married to a man.
an amazing man named Sal. We'll have to do an episode with our husbands.
Yeah.
Shy, but I think we could convince him.
Okay. We know where he lives. We'll find him.
Yeah, but yes, keep going.
Yeah, so I mean, it's great too that we all get to relate and we all get to talk about it now together. And of course, now it's like, whoa, it's not a big deal, but you have to go through that. It's very hard. And then, you know, becoming an alcoholic, you never know when you're an alcoholic. It's just when, you know, there
It
is
just
no
awakens.
diagnosis. Like,
It awakens.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of similar to having that acceptance inside of you. So anyway, you know, it breaks you down emotionally and coming out of the closet, of course, and then you start building a new family, party family, and then eventually you
Yeah.
figure out you're like, I can't live like this forever. So then you have to leave that family behind, possibly. That freaks you out. Like, I'm not gonna have anybody left, but that's not true. You know, it's just all these fears, right? So it's just fighting through fears and just, now it's just like I'm a pro.
A seasoned vampire.
Yeah.
And then, do you have any advice for anyone who's just tuning in, who's thinking about getting sober?
Yeah, I mean, a lot.
Pick 3.
Do it. If you're not happy where you are in life, if it's not working for you, I'm assuming it's not. It's never too late to completely. What I did was I completely wiped everything down to its foundation. Just start over. It's never too late, and it's exciting. As long as you're willing, and people will start, you know, showing up out of the woodworks that are willing to start standing behind you. It's going to be hard. At first, people are not going to believe you, and they're going to be like, yeah, or, you know, but stick through that, and that's where you start to build your self-discipline. That's where you start to build your wealth. On the inside, it's very important to start building wealth on the inside, and that is working with all of your character defects, identify, What is it that I do? What is it that doesn't work for me? What is it that I say all the time? For me, it was excuses. And everyone knows
We don't like excuses.
that is my number one
Biggest pet peeve.
Now let's back it. You can back everything up to where it started. And also character defects that you will probably have forever that you learn how to work in a positive way.
Yeah.
And it's one day at a time, and then it's 1 month at a time, and then it's 1 year at a time. And be patient and enjoy the ride and enjoy the journey. It's not hard all the time. It's kind of satisfying to start achieving. It's very satisfying. And again, I never thought that I would be happy. Has always been my dream. And what I shared at our wedding. And we never stop growing. That's another important thing. It's never too late. And it's never too early. It's really, like you just said, Siobhan, it's your own journey, and it's really where you are just tired of being where you're at. If it's not working for you, if there's something you want to do. Again, for me, I just decided to completely re-raise myself and do it quickly, and kind of identified where I was emotionally. Not alone, through lots of conversations, lots of therapy, lots of counseling. Of course, I will never claim that I know it all. I will never claim that I, wrote the script of being who I am. I decided to listen to everybody. And that, not just sober, just mentors that are doing amazing things in the world. I mean, it could be anybody and anything. And just taking little pieces that work. I mean, it's really quite simple, right? If you really say it out loud. Yeah, I mean, just loving life, right?
That's the bottom finished goal, is to love your life and be healthy and happy and get what you deserve.
But I wanted to personally say thank you so much, honey. I love
Thank
you
you
so
for
much.
having me
You've
on
been my
your
favorite
show.
guest.
And I think I can say that I'm really proud, that Joey is, and everyone close to you is really proud. And that's an amazing to never have a relapse.
Yeah.
That's something to really be proud of yourself for.
Oh, thank
which
you.
I know you are. So.
I don't like talking about it.
It was really hard to say for him to say yes to come on here.
Yeah. Shockingly, I don't like talking about myself.
No, and you did really well. On that note, please make sure you hit that like and subscribe button and listen for that.
Ding!
And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye. That was good. How do you feel that one?
Yeah, let me just make sure I touch something.